Hello Internet, this is Benatori here to talk about YouTube troubleshooting and bug reporting. Now I will admit, had this video been uploaded a few days ago, the tone of this video would have been much angrier. But we'll get into exactly why that is a little later. So without further ado, let's talk about what actually happened. So on August 10th, sometime between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m., my real-time analytics suddenly stopped working. Now, when I say suddenly stopped working, I'm referring to YouTube Analytics suddenly displaying the number 0. I'm pretty familiar with my typical view counts. I have one video that normally gets 2,000 views per 48 hours, another that regularly gets around 15 views per 48 hours, and a handful of other videos that get around 0 to 10 views per 48 hours. And yet, out of nowhere, all of these consistently performing videos are suddenly bringing in 0 views. Now let me clarify. If this had happened over the course of several days or several weeks, I would have written it off as my videos dying with the trends. But this right here is way too sudden of a drop. In my experience, something had to have gone very wrong from a technical perspective in order for the numbers to drop off this drastically. And since I have formed the hypothesis that this issue is technical instead of trend-based, that means we only have one option. Time to troubleshoot this bitch! Question 1. Are the videos down because of copyright problems? So the first thing I did was I checked my videos to make sure there were no copyright claims. As you can see here, no copyright claims. This video is age restricted, but I did that myself. Plus, that video doesn't really get views anymore anyway. And then here, YouTube has sensed that copyright material is present in this video, and the holder is apparently willing to do revenue sharing, but I don't plan on monetizing that video anyway, so that has 0 impact on the video's visibility. So yep, we can rule out copyright problems. Question 2. Are the videos simply not visible anymore? So it's possible that these videos aren't getting viewed anymore because they're not visible anymore. Meaning the videos are still up on my end, but nobody can see them from a viewer perspective. Right now it doesn't really matter why the videos wouldn't be visible. The question is simply, are they visible? For the sake of saving time and not freaking out YouTube's anti-viewbot algorithm, I'm just gonna check the videos that give me the most views. Yansim? Yep. It's up, and it still shows up in YouTube search. Anime reference jokes? Yep. Still viewable, still searchable. Neon FM? Yep. So this isn't a visibility problem. My videos can still be seen, and my videos can still be searched. Question 3. Is there a problem with my traffic sources? Yep, so all my traffic sources are still completely intact. So that rules out a traffic source issue. So some of my less back-end savvy viewers might be wondering, what's so significant about traffic sources? Well, thanks to the past 2 years of analytics, I have found that a large portion of my traffic comes from suggested videos, meaning people usually find my videos while watching other people's videos. And then while they're watching someone else's video, they'll see my video recommended on the side. And even though I stumbled upon this method of promotion entirely by accident, it's still apparently a very viable way to get people to watch my channel. My channel's still doing a few things wrong, but, that's an issue for another day. The important thing is, this is how people often find my videos. So it makes sense that if there was an issue with one of these videos that act as a traffic source, then that might be a good explanation for why my channel has suddenly stopped receiving views. But as I just demonstrated, all of my major traffic sources are still completely fine. So why my channel suddenly started getting 0 views is still a mystery. So what now? So I've just troubleshooted all possible issues that could affect video visibility. My videos are not being affected by copyright claims. My videos are still visible on both their view pages and in search. My traffic sources have not been removed or otherwise affected, and to make sure I covered my bases, I even checked my channel standing and combed through my email to make sure I hadn't been unceremoniously banned or phantom copyright claimed. And while I was troubleshooting the issue, some more interesting information came to my attention. I'm still receiving comments. Well, that doesn't make any sense. How can I still be receiving new comments if nobody is viewing my videos? Something very weird is going on here. So this has led me to a new hypothesis. Analytics is experiencing a bug. Okay, so something is telling me that I cannot trust real-time analytics. But I don't really have a way of testing this within YouTube. This means I'm going to have to go to an outside analytics tool to test how accurate real-time is. So aside from Google and YouTube Analytics, the first analytics tool I think of is Social Blade. On the one hand, Social Blade is a bit easier to use and navigate, but on the other hand, it's very dumbed down, and it doesn't give you as many tools to work with as YouTube Analytics does. For instance, you know how earlier I was able to figure out all my traffic sources? Social Blade is not nuanced enough to tell you what your traffic sources are. But right now, I'm not looking for Social Blade to be a YouTube Analytics replacement. I just need to use it as a reference to judge whether or not YouTube Analytics is accurate or not. So we're gonna scroll down here and, yep, look at that. According to Social Blade, I'm still getting about 1,000 views per day. As a matter of fact, this particular screen grab was taken after I'd spent around 48 hours of troubleshooting. My real-time analytics has read as 0 for a fairly long time now at this point. And yet on Social Blade, these are all the dates that real-time analytics was telling me I was getting 0 views. So according to Social Blade, real-time analytics is just flat out wrong. Hell, I even went to the live subscriber count just to be sure. And yeah, I got more subscribers. So how in the world could I be getting comments and subscribers and views according to Social Blade, but no views according to YouTube Analytics? And then, just to make sure that I wasn't getting tricked by Social Blade, I decided to check out Overview. Now, while Realtime is great at giving you the most recent data, Overview gives you much more detailed data, but at the cost of having to wait 48 hours to get that information. This has something to do with YouTube's systems sorting through information, checking to make sure it's valid, but that's not the important part. The important part is seeing what Overview has to say about the dates that Realtime claimed I got 0 views. Realtime read the information for August 11th, 2017 as 0. Let's see what Overview has to say about August 11th. Look at that! Overview says I got over 1,000 views that day. You know, it's not exactly the same number as what Social Blade came up with, but it's at least in the same ballpark. So now we have identified our problem. The issue is not that my videos aren't getting viewed. The issue is that there is a bug that is preventing real-time analytics from reporting my view counts accurately. The issue is not with analytics as a whole, because Overview is still working fine. The issue is that Realtime can no longer accurately report the views my videos are receiving. But now we run into another problem. I am not an engineer or a programmer, so I'm pretty good at troubleshooting things, but I don't actually know how to repair them. I'm good at following the rabbit hole, but once I've found the Mad Hatter, I have no idea what to do with him. So now I have to find somebody who does know what to do. But then again, YouTube's support system is virtually non-existent. So what do I do now? Time for a shit ton of outreach! So the first place I look when I'm trying to get YouTube help is Reddit. This is mostly because 1, I've actually run into YouTube employees on the sub before, and 2, even if somebody from YouTube can't help, there's a small chance you'll either run into other people experiencing the same problem, or you'll run into another user who knows what to do. So I left 2 different posts. The first post I left was immediately when I discovered the problem. At this point I hadn't finished troubleshooting, but I wanted to put it out there in case somebody else had already troubleshooted the problem. So a few hours after I put that out there, did anyone have anything helpful to say? I mean, there's this guy who says he's having the same problem. So I'm not alone? Okay, for what that's worth. The second time I posted was a few days later after I had completely finished troubleshooting and had already figured out what the issue was. So, did anybody respond here? Same thing. More people claiming they're having the same issue and nobody else responding. Man, Reddit is usually way more helpful than this. Alright, next up is Twitter. Hey, look at that! It looks like this issue has already been documented and solved. Oh, that's a great sign! That means there is a solution available. I just have to communicate with them and get the problem fixed. Oh boy, maybe this will be quicker than I thought. Wait, you want me to go through the official... Oh no. This is the one where you email a bunch of faceless people who don't do anything and... Well, you know what? This issue has already been documented and the Twitter account did direct me here. So maybe this will be slightly better than before? And now for the fun part of the video. Bug reporting. Yep, this is the part of the video where you guys get to watch me get really angry over YouTube's incompetence. So, keep in mind, I've spent a ton of time trying to troubleshoot this issue. I know this issue well enough that I've ruled out a lot of things that it could be. I am admittedly a little angry, and I'm very stressed, because I have just lost my largest source of positive reinforcement, and hands down the most valuable marketing tool at my disposal. However, in spite of all of that, I am going to try to be as civil as possible in order to get this issue resolved. Okay, time to fill this out. Wait, so in this area here, how long am I supposed to make my explanation? The size of the box seems to indicate that I don't have any room at all, but the word count seems to indicate I have tons of space. I'll just put in 2 sentences. I could go into more detail, but I don't want them to skim it over because it's too long. Jeez, I'm already confused about whether I'm doing this right. Well, here goes nothing. Oh, I got a bot response. Well, at least it's in the system. Okay, so that response time isn't too bad, especially since I sent that at like 1 in the morning. So, what does it say? I know that video view count can be confusing, so I've provided some information to clarify how that works. Excuse me? I know that video view count can be confusing, so I've provided some information to clarify how it works. Lady, I know how this shit works. It's not that hard of a process to describe. Video gets viewed. The fact that the video got viewed gets stored somewhere, along with user information about who viewed it. I don't know exactly where this information gets cataloged, but I know it gets cataloged somewhere. A bot combs through the data attached to each view. And then while the bot is combing through all the data that is tagged to all the views that have been compiled on the video, the bot looks for data like, who is the user who is watching this? What kind of content did they watch before watching this video? How long did the viewer watch the video for? Where is this viewer physically? This is how they get the data for the analytics tool. This is also probably how they figure out what to put on your recommendations page. It compares your viewing patterns to the viewing patterns of other people within your demographic. And then it redirects you to videos that other people within your demographic have watched. But not only are these bots trying to comb through the info to improve analytics and recommendations, these bots are also looking for things like botnets that could be used to artificially inflate view counts, views that are only 1 second long, and other things that might be considered a cheap view. And while the bot is doing this, the view count remains frozen. If you refresh the page, the view count will not go up because the bot has frozen it while it sorts through the views it has received. At specific intervals that I am not familiar with, the bot will update the view count with all of the views that it has deemed as acceptable. And that is how you get view counts. On top of that, all the work that those bots put into sorting good views and bad views is the main reason why it takes so long for Overview to process view counts. Overview probably logs view counts after the bots have filtered them. This is why YouTube Overview and Social Blade had two different view counts back when I was troubleshooting. Their bots probably disagreed on how many of the views were, quote, good views. This is also why Realtime and Overview may not have the same view counts. Realtime is just processing views, while Overview is probably processing good views. Now, there is some controversy about whether or not these bots even should be filtering and removing views from videos, but that's a topic for another day. And forgetting how the views are actually counted, it's basic common knowledge that sometimes the days have denser viewership than others. In the US at least, prime time is considered 4 p.m. to 7 p.m., because that's when all the kids get home from school and when most of the adults get home from work. And when you're at home with nothing to do, you're more likely to spend time watching videos. And then at midnight to 4 a.m., it's considered the lowest traffic time of the day, because that's when everybody is asleep. And people are a lot less likely to watch videos while they are asleep. And guess what? That information is often reflected in your analytics. If your view count suddenly drops at 2 in the morning, don't worry, you're not doing anything wrong. Your viewers are probably just sleeping. So lady, I know it might be hard for me to display this knowledge in my support request, or at least in these information boxes you probably had your bot read before sending me a canned response, but lady, I fucking know how view counts work. I don't know if I'm just being oversensitive to this, but this really pisses me off. I know that view counts can be confusing, so I've provided some information to clarify how it works. Lady, I know my videos aren't very popular, but that's not what I'm complaining about. I'm complaining about a bug that has already been documented by your team. Stop trying to coddle me and fix this goddamn bug! Generally, it is normal to see fluctuations in your videos. No shit. Views can fluctuate daily as traffic behavior changes and as we update a video's view count. No shit. To verify that views are real, we may temporarily slow down, freeze, or adjust the view count, as well as discard low-quality playbacks. No shit. This is what the 300 Club was based off of. The same process is still in place today, it just doesn't freeze at the number 300 anymore. Occasionally, when a video becomes popular quickly, it may take longer to confirm that the views are accurate. This means a video's view count may not update for several hours. Again, no shit. See the 300 Club. If you notice that your video's views are consistently dropping, you may want to check out optimization tips to help increase watch time. Okay, ignoring the you may want check out, that was an incredibly PC way of saying, maybe your videos just suck now. Lady, this is not a very good start to our communications. For one, the way this is written is very condescending, especially to a veteran YouTuber like me. I uploaded my first videos back in 2012. I may not exactly be popular, but I've been doing this long enough that this is basic information for me. And even if this information is slightly more helpful to a newer YouTuber, this is all information that is widely available on the YouTube FAQ pages. Spitting out this information that I can already find very easily isn't helping. And forgetting all that, none of this information has anything to do with what I'm actually complaining about. Like I said, I'm not complaining that my videos aren't popular. I'm complaining about a bug that has already been documented, and a bug that I have already troubleshooted. I didn't spend nearly 48 hours troubleshooting my channel just to hear basic information that has nothing to do with my problem. So I sent a message trying to better explain that 1, I understand how view fluctuations work, 2, I'm still not complaining about my videos not being popular, 3, Social Blade is indicating that Realtime is flat out wrong because my videos are still getting viewed, and 4, I believe I am experiencing a bug that has already been documented. and then I sent some screenshots to hopefully illustrate my point. Fast forward 12 hours. Actually, the post regarding the bug that you saw on Twitter has already been addressed and is already marked as fixed. Whoa, you actually checked that? Well, that's good at least. As per checking the screenshots you've sent, I believe it's not on 0. It's somewhat between 0 and 15, and it's fluctuating, and that's a normal occurrence. Lady, I know that the tick marks might be harder to see, especially with my Janssen video drowning everything out, but the number still shows up right there. Your analytics tool has not suddenly lost the ability to perceive numbers under 15. Again, I know those tick marks look small, but real-time analytics was still able to perceive them. It's just failing to perceive them now because it's failing to perceive anything. And this prompted another response, where I tried to explain that first off, I have videos that regularly bring in a range of views, and even while I have my one video that brings in 2,000 views, the other videos with single-digit views were still registering in real time. Secondly, even if the ticket is already marked as fixed, maybe you need to reopen it because I'm experiencing this issue now. Third, I'm still not complaining that my videos aren't popular. I'm complaining about a bug. And finally, I am becoming increasingly frustrated because I have already troubleshooted this issue. I have data provided via screenshot indicating that my view counts are high enough that they should be registering anyway, and this bug has resulted in me losing over 48 hours of valuable data. And to top it off, I'm hoping that you guys can fix the issue on your end because I've run out of ways to address the issue on my end. Fast forward 7 hours. As part of our long-standing effort to keep YouTube authentic, we've begun to periodically audit the views a video has received. While in the past we would scan views for spam immediately after they occurred, now we periodically validate the video's view count retroactively, removing fraudulent views as new evidence comes to light. Here's a link to another FAQ page you've already fucking read, ignoring the fact that this was a hot-button issue that received site-wide coverage last year. Lady, you're not listening! You're not listening to me! I'm not worried about whether or not my videos are getting viewed. I'm not worried about view counts going down retroactively. I'm worried about how they are being reported in real time. Hell, it was at this point that I found out Overview was still accurate while real time wasn't. So lady, stop sending me the same useless information over and over again, and help me with the bug I'm trying to report. Fast forward 7 more hours later. You can use the real-time report to see estimated views data for the last 25 published videos. For channels, you can also use this report to see the total views. Oh no. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? It was at this point that I admittedly lost my shit and sent a fairly passive-aggressive response to this lady. And then I spent the rest of the day being pissed off and trying to come to terms with my losses. I have just lost my largest source of positive reinforcement, incredibly valuable data that was easy for me to digest, and the only thing anybody is gonna do to help me is send useless FAQ information that I already fucking know. Fuck, I did half the work for you! I did most of the troubleshooting myself. I gathered data that backed up my hypothesis. It was a bug that was already documented. This should have been cut and dry. But instead, I got redirected to hands down the most useless tech support I have ever seen. And this is coming from someone who used to do high school internships in tech support. Even when you have the most moronic idiot in the world at your door, it is not that hard to listen to your client. Fuck Google, what the hell? Now, luckily, this story does have a somewhat happy ending, because, for reasons that were never communicated to me, on August 14th, sometime between 5 a.m. and 6 a.m., my real-time analytics started working again. I have no idea if my attempted bug report had anything to do with it, And quite frankly, I don't care. I'm just glad the issue's taken care of. Although I am a bit concerned, because since my analytics got fixed, other people on Reddit have begun complaining that now their real-time analytics aren't working, which means they're gonna have to go through the same shitty experience I went through. And now for the conclusion of this video. Holy shit, that was more painful than it needed to be! So as you guys may have guessed from the sudden shift in tone this video took, my problem largely falls with the process of bug reporting. First off, I think that ticket could use some tweaks. I understand why it's formatted the way it is, but maybe you could make that box a little more indicative of how much information you want about the issue. The box's size made me feel like I didn't have much room to explain my issue, but then the word count over there seems to indicate that I do have more space to describe my issue. Maybe if you made the box a little bit bigger, your users would feel free to include more details about their problem, and then you waste a lot less time trying to re-explain problems that should have been included in the ticket in the first place. And considering how often Google likes to tweak the YouTube layout, I don't think tweaking the support tickets would be too much to ask. Second, the communications I had with this particular representative were awful. The first email I received was very insulting given all the work I had done to troubleshoot the issue even before I reported the bug. Hell, I had no way to indicate I had already done all this work. And then I had to waste several hours trying to convey all the data I had already gathered. Maybe it would have been helpful if your support ticket had an option that said, "Have you tried troubleshooting this issue?" And then you could have a checkbox that indicates yes or no. And then if you select yes, have an entire questionnaire pop up. Things like, did you check to see if you had a copyright claim? Did you play back your video to make sure it was visible? Were you still receiving comments while this issue was occurring? And even if somebody didn't do all these things, maybe now that they've seen it in a nice, concise checklist, you can give them ideas on things they could do to troubleshoot. Maybe they'll open up a new tab and try some of these things before pushing the ticket. And just to cover your bases, you could even have an entire blank area where someone could write out their entire troubleshooting process. That way, you can get a general idea of what kind of user you're working with. Is this person a complete idiot who's complaining because their video isn't popular? Great, send them over to the low priority tech support. Is this somebody who sounds like they did some work and is trying to solve a real issue? Great, send them over to the slightly higher priority tech support. There are lots of ways this terrible interaction could have been avoided. Hell, another way my terrible communication could have been avoided is if there was a tab asking, when did you start uploading? This way you can sort out the users who might not know basic information and more experienced users who already know most of the basic FAQ stuff. This might cut down on some of the more condescending user experiences. But even if we ignore the ticket layout and the time wasted trying to re-explain the complaint, you should not be copying and pasting FAQ information into one-on-one tech support communications, because it was already insulting to have all the work I did troubleshooting get completely disregarded by a condescending first interaction. But it was infinitely more insulting to have most of my communications disregarded in favor of being fed copy and pasted information that had nothing to do with my complaint. I understand that sometimes you have to humor idiots, but again, maybe you should do a better job trying to sort out which users are idiots and which ones have legitimate complaints. Because while I'm sure that copy-paste method is probably a really good method for keeping an idiot busy, all it does is infuriate users who actually do have legitimate complaints. YouTube has two saving graces: its massive audience and its stellar analytics tools. If there is one thing that Google is the king of, it's analytics. The fact that Google is letting YouTube use even a sliver of that data publicly is a godsend. It is a godsend both for practicality and it is a godsend as a tool for positive reinforcement. But the fact that YouTube's support is non-existent makes it incredibly hard to appreciate what Google does give us. Here I am, claiming that one of the most powerful marketing tools in the world has stopped working for me, and I am being told it's already fixed, or maybe your videos just suck now. Google, how is it that you have some of the most valuable features in all of content creation, and yet your company can't even fulfill a tech support ticket.